Okay, in our Azure portal, as you see, there are some list of resources we apply. So first of all, let's move on to our resource groups. The resource group we create here, it's a network resource group in which we have a different kind of resources there. We have a virtual network there, we have a security part, the firewall part, the public IP address, the load balancer, the storage accounts. So these are all are the resources we use in our project, and it's under the network resource group. Okay, now move on to the virtual machine part. So here um, it's loading here. Okay, this is our Linux machine, the VM. Here is the configuration of this VM. Uh, and if we move on to networking part, so here the addresses, the relevant port addresses, the actions allowed here for our VM, and the disk space, as you see, uh, it's 30 GB. Randomly we can also extend our disk space to this data disk part. So now move on to the size of the VM. We can also see the size of our VM, and so actually this is the overall of our VM. About the backup part, we didn't apply yet this backup part. The disaster recovery and update manager, because it consumes some resources, so that's why we avoid not to use this part. Okay. Now come to the load balancer part. Actually this is the load balancer part to manage the resources of our VM. So if we move on to this part, we can see this is the configuration. We have the backend pool part, we have the help probe part, and the load balancing rule. So these are the three main things we apply to our load balancer. So as you see in the IP configuration, we have this IP. If we move on to, if you copy this IP, uh, if we copy this IP here, so it will show that it will loading. I think it will show that our load balancer is working fine or not. Okay, it load until it loads. We move on to some configuration parts. So these are some configuration we apply this load balancing, uh, the backend pool, the health probe, and the load balancing tool. These three things we apply here. We configure it for the web servers. This is the TCP port address, so it can easily manage web servers. The load balancer easily manage the web servers. So this feature here, you see, I think it's not, it's some problem here, it's not connecting, but usually it connects. It will show a message there that our balancers connect fine. Okay, now move on to the virtual networks. This is our primary VNet, and we have some address spaces there. So this is our network interface card, and it is the virtual network gateway. So basically, we have one subnet. We have two subnets there with this address range from these two, and this is a default gateway subnet. And about the firewalls, we didn't configure it about the firewalls due to the resource consumption. the DNS also, and some other things. So we focus on the subnets and the gateway. I think it's not connected. Okay, then move on to the storage accounts here. So here we create a storage account, and the configuration for storage accounts like this. Uh, there are some resources for this. We focus on the blob part, the binary logical objects part. So if we see the configuration for this part, this is our configuration. We focus on the LR, locally rendered storage part. We have also some other, but we focus on LRS part because it's easy to manage. About the other things, the blob service. This is our blob service available here. At the custom domain and CDN, we didn't apply anything about it. Okay, then if we come to the load balancer part, it's all also working fine. Here I think some connectivity problem here, that's why it's not connected. Then if we come to the virtual machine part, we can also connect this virtual machine. So the RDP, remote desktop protocol here, connect this one. This is access part. We focus on the RDP, and we allow the port 3389 in our configuration here. In the I think okay, now connect this one to the I think it's not connected. I think there's some problem here. But if we click on this, we can connect to RDP also. We can do on SSH with this domain address in our Linux one. So currently we only have a Windows platform. So we can connect through the Linux using this login this address. So this is our project. We can develop an infrastructure. So through this infrastructure, that all the things can easily be managed with the public IP addresses. Like for the load balancer, it's a public. There's a public IP address here. For the storage account, for the virtual network gateway, there's also a IP address there. There's IP address there. For the virtual network also, there's a IP address there. There's address space there, and for the load balancer also, for the virtual machine also, there's a IP for it. So basically it's all about to use these IP addresses to utilize these resources in our VM, through our VM. Okay, so thank you so much for this presentation, and thank you.